I keep trying to tell myself my brother Andreas is not a bad person and that he's just mentally ill, severely mentally ill and sick, and that I'm gonna still have to give him money and take care of him when he gets in trouble because he doesn't have any family, doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't have any friends. My brother has made our life miserable for over 20 years. Never once taken care of my father. It's so sad. He's tried everything he could to use the police maliciously against me. And my father kept telling me that Andreas doesn't understand how sick he is. Same thing with my mom, right until she died. My dad loved him unconditionally, that's why he spent his life savings on Andreas' legal fees and now left me with a lot of debt. Because my dad knew that I was responsible and mature, and I'd be in the best position to help him out someday, even though I've helped him out so much, so many times, and begged so many girls not to press charges against him, kept giving him money. And instead of even coming to the hospital to say goodbye to my dad, breaks in and steals cameras and the pain medication my dad had laying around. It's so upsetting, and it's just really sad. And my dad really tried to manipulate me as much as he could to feel sorry for Andreas, and I still gave him cash out of my pocket, even though I was a full-time caregiver and nurse. So my dad didn't have the ability to even afford giving him money. Same thing with my dad, he kept giving money to Andreas. Andreas refused to get an apartment, find a regular job, get health insurance, and he just kept asking us for money. So I'm trying to deal with this as best I can, running 5 or 6 miles as often as possible, because it's so upsetting. My brother's slandering my name all over the internet, telling fucked up shit about me that's not true to people, and trying to use the police maliciously against me. He's been evicted, doesn't live in the house. It's not his house anymore. Never was. He's never helped me or my father or my mother with anything. He's never given us money. I've helped him move out. I've helped him unload shit. I've given him so much money over the years. And not once has he ever said thank you to me. Not once has he ever asked me how I'm doing or anything about my personal life. He's a classic and clinical narcissist. And he's been accused of hurting so many different people. He's had so many different problems with the law. He's just sick and mentally ill. I'm trying to tell myself he's not a bad person. But you know, what he's done to me is horrible. He looked me once right in the eye and plunged a barbecue fork right into the top of my butt. I mean, he's come at me with knives, and even my ex-girlfriends have had to get orders of protection against him. He called the cops on my ex-wife over a slice of pizza. And for crying out loud, he's tried to get me arrested on false charges, and now he made a false statement lying under oath to a judge. I have to go to court for this, and instead of grieving for my father and focusing on work, I'm gonna focus on his bullshit and his mess. I just found another mouse infestation in the basement, and I throw out rotten wood and rotten crap, rotten papers and empty cans and tins that my dad was going to use to paint with, that was shoved in the basement 20 years ago. And he's trying to say that I threw out his shit. He's so full of shit. If it wasn't my brother, I swear to God, I don't know what I would do, because I've never, ever in my life have tried to hurt him. He's just a sick kid who's tried to hurt me, and he's caused so much misery and pain for us over the years. And when he was facing 15 years in prison, not once but twice, ended up with a felony conviction and has to register as a sex offender. My father paid through the nose to keep him out of jail and prison for lawyers, to the point where it bankrupted him. And now I'm left with a lot of debt, grief, and artwork. Please buy some of the artwork. Please. It's just too bad my brother has to be such a dick to me and everybody. He's just so sick and mentally ill. He's got PTSD from the army, PTSD from being bullied in school. I was so kind and nice to him, and I left the country. I wasn't around. I've been independent and lived on my own. I only came back to the house 5-6 years ago to take care of my dad. And during this pandemic, I never let my dad out of my sight. So it's so hard now. I loved my dad so much. He was my best friend. It's so hard, the loneliness and sadness, and to have a brother who just wants to keep taking and taking and taking, and to let himself in the house and steal my dad's cameras and medication and say to me, my wife, how he's glad my dad is dead, and how relieved he is, and how angry he was at my dad, blame my dad for him being homeless, not being a successful DJ. He's truly mentally disturbed. He just needs to get help and get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of this area. Instead of crying, I'm doing this.